Hey, this is John Armstrong here. I'm a solution engineer at Nintex. So I put together this workflow and botflow to help make access requests for Nintex RPA Central a little bit easier. I know it's kind of a little bit of a manual process right now. There's no real out of the box method to handle these requests. So just kind of filling that gap with this workflow and botflow. So just wanted to break down exactly what's going on each side. We have a pretty simple form, just a repeating section, if you want to do multiple requests. Just a simple radio button here to determine if it's for yourself or for another user. Email field, role field. Very simple rule. If you're requesting for yourself, it will just pull in the user context and set that email field just to make it a little bit easier. But if it's not for yourself, then it'll just clear it out. So I'm just looking at the preview real quick. Like I mentioned, the repeating sections. So if I wanted to, of course, my email is not going to come through in this in the preview here, but we'll see it in a second with the real form. The roles, just to match the role choices that are available in RPA Central as of this recording as well. Then the workflow side. So I've got a parallel path here. I couldn't figure out a more clean way to do it, but basically I wanted to have an approval for an administrator request. I didn't want to just have someone requesting an administrator role just kind of go straight through, right? So I broke this down so they wouldn't step on each other's toes. And by that, I mean, I wanted the non-admins to continue to process while the admin roles were going through the approval cycle. So going down this admin request branch first, of course, we've got a loop for each action to loop through the repeating section from that form. It's going to check that role value, and if it's equal to administrator, then we start to dive in. We're using an Azure AD connection to retrieve user details based on the email that's input on that form. And again, using that email, we're getting their manager details. And we're going to send this task over to that user's manager. From there, that task, it's an express approval, so they can make a quick decision to approve or reject. Have a nicely worded rejection email. And then we get into the approve side, where Nintex RPA will take over, and just some error handling in there. So that's the admin side. Super simple. Of course, it could be fleshed out quite a bit more. Then for all of the non-admin roles requests, it's just going to go straight through. All right, so again, another loop for each, checking if it is not an administrator, getting those user details, getting those manager details, which actually don't actually need that. Let me just get rid of that. And then, after getting those user details, pushing it through to Nintex RPA. And again, with that error checking in there. All right, so that's the workflow side. Now for the bot flow. Bot flow is very straightforward. I just have some notes in there, just with some general information. But kind of just breaking it down, setting some variables up here at the beginning. For the RPA Central URL primarily. These other two are a little bit redundant. If you're using the workflow in conjunction with this botflow, you definitely want to delete or disable these two set variable actions, because those are going to overwrite the values that are coming from the workflow. But after that, we're opening up Chrome, using that RPA Central URL that's provided. which in this case the variable is blank there. It's going to go to that website. It's going to wait for that user's page to load, and then it'll go through and start to do that whole process of adding the users. All right, so if I come in here, I'll click that Add Users button up there. It'll do the send value. And what's nice is it does a little bit of error checking too. So if I say, put my username in there, it'll send it over. And we get that red message that says the user already exists. So I've set up the bot flow to recognize that. I'm going to capture that error message into the status variable, which is what's used in the workflow to realize that there was an issue. But otherwise, if there's no errors or anything, then it's going to set the role drop down to the appropriate choice. Click that add button to create the user, and then if everything goes through successfully, we'll update that status to say it was successful, and then close that Chrome window. So this bot flow is designed to work hand in hand with the workflow. You can, of course, edit this, tweak this if you want to base it off of a spreadsheet, or if you want to approach it from some other different way. There's no requirement to utilize both the workflow and the bot flow together there for it. So just a quick breakdown of what everything is doing, and then I'll create another video here to actually show it running through.